But first things first, music as usual, and we start off this time with Mr. Classic. It's called Wams. Here is Vante. It's a story and a lucid description of how poor people dream. You know how they do? They think tomorrow when they get money, they become more than Samuel Eto'o, right? Now when we come back, we'll explain the details of that song because Mr. Wams himself is actually here. We promised you this on Friday. He couldn't make it because he took ill at the 11th hour, but finally he's up and waxing strong. Here is Vante.
Caroline Gushinge, Papa Gushinge. Vante-toi, vante-toi, my brother, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, vante-toi. DJ do the mix, wanna dance to the song. This song is a hit, yeah the beat, I wanna rock. Vas-y doucement, DJ, suis le pas. Restez scotché avec Wams, oui des Vante. Vante-toi, vante-toi, DJ vante-toi. Et vante-toi, vante-toi, vante-toi. Et vante-toi, vante-toi, fais-ta vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, chérie, vante-toi. Et vante-toi, vante-toi. As I don't pointer, you don't pointer. Il a pointé, money done day. We get to the Vante, oh, yeah. As the money don't come, we get to the chop. Partenaire, vante-toi. As the work don't pay, make you live, my friend, vante-toi. Tu te maries, ça les dérange, my sister, vante-toi. Célibataire, ça les dérange, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, my brother, vante-toi. Yeah, vante-toi, vante-toi, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, my sister, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, vante-toi. Me a di Vante, oh, Vante. Mama a di Vante, oh, Vante. Tara a di Vante, oh, a di Vante, oh. Si a di Vante, oh, Vante. Make you the Vante, oh, Vante. Mula make you Vante, oh, make you Vante, oh. When the money don't come, some people they go chop, my brother Vante-toi. When the rain they fall, some people they go run, my sister Vante-toi. Para para pa 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 para pa 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 pa. Quand tu walk tu pisses, personne ne te gère. C'est quand tu as déjà pris, on te gère. Quand tu es dans tes voies, personne ne te gère. C'est quand tu as déjà pris, on te gère. Tu vas walk, 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 personne ne te gère. Chop, 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 on te gère. As I don't pointer, you don't pointer. Il a pointé, money done day. We get to the Vante, oh, yeah. As the money don't come, we get to the chop. Partenaire, vante-toi. As the work don't pay, make you live, my friend, vante-toi. Tu te maries, ça les dérange, my sister, vante-toi. Célibataire, ça les dérange, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, my brother, vante-toi. Yeah, vante-toi, vante-toi, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, my sister, vante-toi. Vante-toi, vante-toi, vante-toi. Et tout keep them chop, they go chop, they go talk. Oh, come do the work, we go chop, we no fit talk. Come come do the work, if we chop, we go chop. Yeah, the Costa do the work. Watson, you be big man.
DJ Cliff exclusive, sir.
Man, this is one of those songs I find so hard to place under any particular musical taxonomy, you know, because it frequently shuttles in and out of bottle dance, in and out of high life. Mr. Wams, Mr. Classic.
Vante.
And J Constantine, welcome. Are you up from your dream now?
I'm up. Those dreams. I just woke up, you know. It's a thing of the time.
Right.
Wild dreams of a poor man.
Yes.
Keep dreaming.
And you just give us a vivid description of how they dream, what they do when they become rich, and it's inspired by real life, right?
Yeah, I was traveling from Bafoussam to Douala a couple of months ago, and then I met this gentleman who was kind of recounting the ordeal he has gone through. He was a boy, so to say. So when the boss is not around, he will flex, he will take his car and go out and do stuff, and then he's looking at the time. When he has to come back, he has to rush and drop a door. So, as you know, usually I tell stories in my songs. Yeah. I tell stories.
From Newsman to Vante Toi,
Newsman, Junati's backside to Vante Toi today.
Okay.
It's rude music, bottle dance, put on urban beat, and
we're going to come to talk about your musical grooming, because you grew up under the wings of certain LTK Chondon. But let's talk about you first of all. You came to this world about 3 decades ago, a little bit more than.
Yes, about 3
you actually
decades
started
ago.
singing in 2002 in Boya, in high school.
Yes, in high school we had a group of 4. That's in Lycée Moliko.
You had a group called the Runians.
The Runians.
Is it Cameroon?
How did you get that?
I know a lot of things, man.
Okay. I had a group of 4 called the Runians. We used to do shows back in high school, interpret songs, American blues, rock, Makossa, and all that. And later in the university, we continued. I joined the school orchestra. I was one of the lead singers of the school orchestra. That was in 2007, 2010. Yeah. And
how would you describe your journey? You've been in this thing for quite a while now.
It's always a learning experience.
2019, that's a whole
I always appear as a new kid in the block. That's what most people think. But for those who know, I've been there way back, and I think it's a constant learning process, just like in every profession, because there's always a challenge of you wanting to build a bridge between the show and the business.
All right.
Yes, so at some point you are in the scene with the show, and then you have to you take some few steps back. Okay, let me develop the business behind this show, so that you can put food on the table and all that.
Now, when you have an uncle who's called El Chick Chondon, we mentioned his name a couple of minutes ago, Aka Amumba, it's hard not to get caught up by the virus.
I want to think that you know some of his songs. Amumba.
Yes.
Amumba, so we danced to it. So I got so inspired by my uncle when I was a kid. He used to be celebrated back from where I come from. I'm from Gi, for those of you who know.
Greetings to the people.
Right? So when he used to play guitar.
Amingia means hello.
Hello.
That's the title of your first single.
Amingia, right? Yes, my very first single.
I'll give you call and notes at the end of the show. Don't forget.
Palm wine.
Yeah, we'll get the palm wine.
So when he used to play the guitar with Nchumeluku and those old names we used to have in the southwest and the northwest, I used to sit by and I'd watch, and I developed interest from there. But my family never wanted me to. Each time during summer holidays, I was like, I want to go visit Uncle Amumba. My dad was like, no, you're not doing this.
Right.
So it was very challenging, not until after my degree in journalism and mass communication. I decided to work as a journalist for a couple of years. All right. So as to master the terrain, know how things go about.
What's been his contribution to your evolution? I'm talking about Amumba.
No, it's more of a coach.
Is he still there for you?
My last charity concert, that was on the 15th of December. He was my main guest, and he was so celebrated there.
Yeah, but I think, and I'm just saying what people are saying. People are saying behind your back, right? You've overtaken him. You're a long way ahead.
I was shocked myself
when. Did you say that?
I was shocked myself when on the red carpet he openly admitted that when you give birth to a child, you expect to see the child grow, and
But not to grow and overtake you on the way.
well, I wouldn't dare say I've overtaken him. I'm just following in his footsteps, and then I know the legacies he had always wanted to keep while he's away. So I'm continuing his legacy, and I hope that I do more and give honor to him.
Let me give you a downside that's concerning your life still. You had a tough childhood. You grew up alongside 10 siblings. You didn't have a mother. Has that been an inspiration to
Divine, why bring this up
who
now?
you are?
Well, I think that yes, I had a very, very terrible childhood, to say the least. Growing up with a single dad, first of all, after losing my mom when I was just 4. You don't know when you're going to have your next meal. I say kudos to my dad for actually working hard to bring us up, and I learned a lot from that, from there, as a man, first of all, because it's only when now that I'm grown up that I get to understand the ordeals he had to go through to bring us up.
Does that inform the kind of music you play? Because, let me give you a scoop. Before you came in, I was discussing with the supervisor, Bivika Emmanuel, and we're saying that from Newsman to this song, Vante, you make it sound so simple, yet so intense at the same time. It's loaded with music. It's not just any kind of wah music.
I think for those who are true musicians, they better understand me. I believe that you are, so they better understand me. I pay keen attention to music. Has to be music. Well, it's true, it has to entertain, maybe basically, but it's music. I pay keen attention. I always want my music to be rooted, to have definition. That's why when you play my song, you don't be surprised to see grandmom vibing to it. You see youngster vibing to it, because we actually dig into. Cameroon has 256 ethnic groups, with each of them having at least 4 folk music genres from which we can tap on. So Wams just goes around.
There's Jang, there's
a lot of them,
dance.
And because they have not been yes, they have not been explored and actually put to the limelight. Most of the times when we do it, those who don't know it, they feel like, oh, this is Kenyan music, this is Nigerian music. Whereas it's music from Cameroon. So jeune artiste, it could be Bagloum. It's just like Mr. Lewis. Whatever.
That's Jang.
That is Jang.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes you listen to songs and you get to relate without understanding, because the music is fundamental. It's the DNA, it's the cultural DNA of the people.
Now let's. How much have you changed? I want to hear this from you. How much have you changed since you released Amingia?
Change.
That means Hello in Gear, right?
Yes.
What happened to that song though?
Amingia was a revelation for me. It's very important to me for people to know where you're coming from before going wherever you're going, because I started singing and I got the most support from my people back in the days, 2004, 2005, when I dropped Amingia. It was an anthem. So every little gathering in my village, in my community in Boya, and I was like, I think this is a blessing for me to move ahead.
You probably must have learned a lot since Amingia.
Yes. I learned a lot. Then I was just about the passion. I was just about, okay, let me do this and have my people have someone to represent them, culturally speaking. And then I came to understand that, okay, this must be business for you. So how do you do this? Is you have to open up your market, not forgetting where you're coming from.
Okay.
So I started mainstreaming, and then after Newsman was just to tell the world that, okay, there's another approach we could have to music. Well, music, we could use those instruments to send a message that can impact change.
That's why you sing thematic songs for movies, and well, you're also involved in producing songs for campaigns like sustainable development and nature conservation and so on. But let me tell you this, and it pains my heart every now and then when I think about it. You actually practiced journalism for 6 good years. You dumped it for music, and that paved the path for you to drop Newsman. Newsman is all about journalism. Are you gone for good?
Well, gone for good. I think a journalist is going to
From
journalist.
journalism for good.
A journalist, no, I wouldn't dare say that, because once a journalist, I think you always remain a journalist. Sometimes, even within my fellow musicians, you have an upper hand in the sense that inherently you want to write a song people can be singing booty, 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 booty. You want to write a song and you're like, well, I'm a journalist, I just can't do this like them.
There's a degree of decency you have to preserve and uphold.
And it's also challenging because you are in an industry where, especially in our context, I dare not say that Cameroonians are hungry, but I think the situation can be better. Cameroonians want to eat, they want to drink, sometimes, most of the times, alcohol, and they want to have sex. I'm sorry to say that. Yes, so if your songs, the themes around your songs don't build towards this, you hardly get to be to be seen like a mainstream act. Most of the time it's difficult for you to get gigs that can, so that's why you find most young stars singing around themes like this. But Wams is more I make music, but what is more important to me is the impact that my music has on society.
Right, they say trash sells better than decency. You don't care?
I care about the after now. I care about what I'll be explaining to my kids when they're watching TV. These days with social media, you have your stuff all over the place. So my daughter may stumble on one of my songs and like, Daddy,
what are you doing? Now with World Press Freedom Day around the corner on May the 3rd, this is why you sing music that lives on. Newsman is going to be played across the channels in Cameroon and even beyond.
Yeah, just to say that I'm working on a project with UNESCO as far as World Press Freedom Day is concerned. We are looking at adding voices to this song, giving a whole different perspective. You know, when I got called to perform at the opening ceremony of the World Youth Forum, it took me by surprise.
Where was that?
That was in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt.
That's Newsman taking you across the world.
And 2 weeks later on, I won an award in Geneva, Switzerland, still for Newsman. And when I received the award, I gave my word that it wouldn't end here. I will carry on with this to make sure that policymakers, conscientize stakeholders as far as press freedom and all that surrounds it is concerned. But
I remember that young white lady. She got so keen on you that she was just shouting around the whole place, "Wams is dope, Wams is dope." I thought you were bringing her back home, right?
I was surprised when I got to the airport. First of all, there were giant posters and flyers around with my image on it. I was like, is this small Wams that is being received in sometimes you do something in your room and you don't know the impact that it will have on
you. Was that
the
a
world.
real trailblazer, Newsman? Would you say that?
I'm going to be very honest with myself. I think that I'm yet to get the name that I want or I desire in my home country.
Okay.
Getting recognition out of Cameroon is that important, but there's some fulfillment you get when you're recognized by your own, and I'm working towards that. The reaction and support that I was getting some 3 or 4 years ago is not the same that I'm getting today. So I think I'm making progress, and I'm calling on. I call my fans the Classicos. I want to especially use this opportunity to thank them for the support and the different individuals who have been supporting me this far.
Okay.
It can only be better. Guys are asking, Newsman, we want another song like that, and then I'm like, wow, Newsman, songs like that, we have to have schemes that will help me to bridge the activism, the music, and my family has to survive, bro.
Thank you for coming, Wams.
Thank you for having me.
Bringing you back here on World Press Freedom Day with Newsman, so we can do it live here, right?
Yes, of course. Why not?
So I'll bring along my guitar. And what are you playing?
Why not? Why not?
What will you play?
I'll sing. I think we'll give a different vibe. We'll make it reggae, Newsman, on that day.
Yeah. That's your color.
Yes. Hey, thank you.
Thank you. It's for real, man. Try it. Welcome, thanks sincerely for sharing.
Thank you so much. And I want to add this special congratulations to canal2 Douala for the work they're doing so far to promote press freedom and all that in Cameroon. Hopefully Friday I might be joining them.
Right. Is it what celebrating Labor Day in Cameroon?
Labor Day, I think it's worth the while, because it's only when commemorating, I would say.
Right.
Because it's only when we commemorate that we can.
Commemorating and celebrating.
I think we should commemorate, because when we commemorate, we can reflect and then look at and try to pave the way forward.
Okay. Just to tell our viewers that canal2 people are here. Some people say it's an invasion, right? We don't have a choice. This is the moment to know about the activities of umbrella organizations hosting journalists. Kejan Henry is going to be here to bring us the contours surrounding the Nijon Fundi abduction at the weekend. Of course, we're going to have Adele, who will come on with the social topics. But let's take a stop now and go find out from the streets, from Kayabasi to Briketeri in Yaoundé to Lagos in Nigeria. The views are almost the same. Is it worth celebrating Labor Day? It comes up, of course, on May the 1st. Vox Pops up next.